Folks, welcome to the Out of the Park 23 Kansas City Royals sim. For those of you who saw my previous video about the teams I was considering, the Orioles, Tigers, and Royals were the teams I was considering. I would say some people made a good case for the Mariners. I'd say it came down to the Royals and the Mariners for me. Mariners, pros, they haven't won a World Series. I could invite Eddie Vedder to sit in my box with me. But in the end, I think the Mariners have a bunch of veteran pieces on their team already that they're going to build around Kelenic, Rodriguez. I don't think the Royals necessarily have that yet. I think they have some work to do to build around Bobby Witt Jr. and some other young players that are on the way. So because there's more work to do with the Royals, I decided to go with them. One quick thing about this sim is this is not going to be a 10-year sim. It's like my last couple have been. In the last couple editions Out of the Park, this is going to be a 3-year sim. I normally do 3 to 4 videos per season, so probably about 12 videos. I typically release 2 per week, so about 6 weeks, 2 times per week. And then this sim will not continue after that. I'm not going to get too far into the weeds of why. Briefly, I would say, when I started the channel during the pandemic, I didn't intend to make 2 years of Out of the Park videos, over 2 years now. And while I'm not stopping the channel, I'm going to be pausing regular updates for a while. I might update some fun videos once a month or something. I might go a couple months without posting. I think from here forward, though, the channel will be more seasonal. Of each year, when the new sim comes out, I do a couple short sims. I do like 1 3 to 5 season sim like this, and then some tutorials. So yeah, long story short is, yeah, it'll be more a seasonal channel, I think, than a year-round 2 to 3 videos per week Out of the Park channel. But we've got these 3 seasons together. Let's enjoy it. We're the Kansas City Royals. They are a team that has Bobby Witt Jr. as their centerpiece, number 3 prospect in baseball according to Out of the Park. He's our third baseman here. I think he could play some second base too. Short, I don't think his range is good enough. But he's going to be our third baseman to start the sim. So looking at the Royals team, let's start with the team. Cam Gallagher is our backup catcher. Sal Perez is a big piece of this team, obviously a big piece of the franchise, like a fan favorite. He's also a captain. He's an extremely popular national player and locally as well. So I won't trade him right away. Some people have said I should keep him for the whole sim. I don't think I'm going to do that. I'll keep him for the opening season, and then we'll go from there. He's making a ton of money, and we have an excellent catching prospect pretty much ready in MJ Melendez. We'll bring up Melendez at some point this season to kind of ease into the role. And yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised if by opening day 2023, Melendez is the starting catcher and Perez is elsewhere. He has really good trade value right now. Hopefully he doesn't tank that, because I likely will trade him after the season. First base is Hunter Dozier, who I think is fine. I think he's fine. I don't think he has the bat to be first base for me. I don't love this contract as a smaller market team. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about this deal. Guess I'll hold on to him for now. Because of some other moves I'm planning to make, but don't love Hunter Dozier as my first baseman. Mondesi at second base, happy with this. I have some concerns about his contact ability. I mean, he struck out in 2021 in 31.6% of his plate appearances. His injury rating is actually normal, which I'm surprised about, but here we are. One thing, if he gets hurt this year, though, and he goes down to the minors, I'm putting him in center field for his rehab stint. He's got a 70 outfield range. Like, I think he could be a really good center fielder for us. So I'm not going to do it here on the major league team because I don't want to tank our center field defense for several weeks while he gets up to speed. But at the latest next year in spring training, he will get a lot of center field experience and probably become our starting center fielder. Bobby Witt, he's a stud. Hopefully he pans out. Nicky Lopez is 27, seems like a shortstop worth keeping around for the long term. He's in arbitration right now. He's 3 more years of arbitration, but the 75 range, yeah, I'm totally happy with him as our shortstop for now. Benintendi only has 1 year left. I think it's kind of a make or break year for him. He already wants a fairly, I mean, it's not expensive, but it's just like basically like, is he going to be a 103, 107 WRC plus guy, a 43 WRC plus? None of these are numbers that scream like you can't get this elsewhere for cheaper. You can get this elsewhere for cheaper, but I also think he has more to give. So can we get more from Andrew Benintendi and have him stick around for several years as a left fielder? We'll see. Michael Taylor, 75 range. I mean, he's an outstanding outfielder. The bat is weak. The bat is a problem. He's only making $4.5 million, which, you know, will be too much if we develop Mondesi. I'm not going to pay a backup center fielder $4.5 million per year, but for now, he will stick around as our right fielder. Kyle Isbell, I don't think is going to be a starter right now. I mean, Whit Merrifield will be our starting right fielder. This is the manager's lineup. I'll be controlling the lineup in rotation. I'll also probably be firing Mike Matheny for reasons I'll get into. Then at DH, Carlos Santana, he's got to go. We can't pay you $10.5 million to be a 35-year-old DH. We already have enough bats. One of them being Vinny Pascantino. I mean, look, this guy mashed in the minors each year. If you look at his projections in real life, like he's projected for like a 115 WRC plus as a rookie. I'm not sure if he's up with the Royals yet. I don't think that he is, but I could be wrong. But anyways, you know, he walks more than he strikes out. Like, this is our first baseman. I mean, this is why, you know, I mean, I guess he could DH, but why I consider Dozier and or Santana expendable is because we've got Pascantino. Other guys that we've got, I mean, so we've got 3 first basemen on the roster. I mean, I know Dozier can play around, but no thanks. We've also got Edward Oliveira, who I think is out of options. Oh, he has 1 option year left. But looks like a decent bench bat, and he can play left and right okay. I guess he could fill in for center if you needed to, you know, somebody gets thrown out of a game or something. But, you know, we'll probably give him a chance to get some at-bats, but certainly not going to be on in a starting role. Pitching side of things, I mean, we're really lacking in the rotation. Brady Singer seems fine, right? I mean, I think we've got a bunch of guys that seem fine. Singer's fine. Greinke on the 1 year, $13 million deal, he's fine. Like, there's no... I think you've got basically a bunch of good 4th and 5th starters, according to my scout, right? I'm not saying Zach Greinke in real life is a 4 or 5, although maybe on a good team he is at this point in his career. But what I am saying is, you know, none of these guys are blowing me away. We need some rotation help. That's not going to be a quick fix. You can't just go out and trade for an ace. The bullpen I feel better about. Barlow in the back end, I like him. Amir Garrett, I like him as the lefty power arm. Josh, is it Stallmont? I like him. And then from there, you've got just some guys that we'll kind of see about, right? A bunch of young arms. That, you know, youngish arms, not all of them are young. Jackson Kowar is a young arm who we might see about this year. Brent's is 27. Let's see, Drew Parrish is only 24. He's got 3 really good pitches. Hello. We will accept the risk. Thank you. But we've got some interesting enough young arms here, right? Like, again, nobody that's going to be an ace, but I think we've got some guys who could potentially be back-end rotation or, like, kind of long men, middle relievers. But the pitching staff is going to take some work. I hope that our 2023 rotation will look much different from our 2022 rotation. Now, in terms of the top prospects, Whit is obviously up. Melendez, I think I'll wait a little bit on, play that service time game, but probably like a month or 2 into the season, I think he'll probably be up and splitting time with Sal Perez. Nick Pratto, I know he's a 73rd prospect in baseball, but, you know, out of the park wise, I don't love him. He's a first baseman. His 35 outfield range can't play anywhere. 55 arm isn't good enough for third. 35 double play isn't good enough for anywhere. Only a 45 contact, a 35 avoid Ks. Like, this is not a guy who I want at first base, really. Now, maybe he'll outplay these. Maybe I should look at his prospect pedigree, etc. But I'm looking to get rid of Carlos Santana's contract. I'm also looking to bring in some pitching. I think attaching Prado to Santana might be a way forward for me, because I don't know. First base prospects need to look like they could be one of the better hitters in the league if they reach their peak. Prado is not that. Former Orioles legend Asa Lacy here had a really rough 2021, and his stock has fallen a good bit, but hopefully we can get him back on track, get him away from that 7.1 walk per 9. And from there, you know, just a bunch of dudes. Alec Marsh is in AAA. Nick Lofton is close. Zach Wildman looks like a possible reliever. But yeah, so that's kind of the farm system. Budget-wise, you know, we have $21 million this year, $29 million for next year, but we only have 5.6 invested in scouting. We only have $6 million invested in development. We don't have our draft slots totally. 14, that seems high for them picking like 7th or whatever. International free agents, we don't have 5. So if you followed my Sims before, you know, I normally zero these 2 out so they don't affect my budget for next year, and then just remember how much I need. So I basically need, this is saying I basically need 19 million in budget room. But, you know, I want us to take this up to at least 12, probably more. The scouting, you know, at least 12, probably more. So we've got 19 million now, and which is basically what I said I wanted here. And in case you're wondering why I zero these out, it's because when you put these in, it also applies this number to next year's budget, right? Like if I had 15 million tied up there, it'd give me 15 million less for next year. And I might want to sign to a guy to an extension for next year that I don't have the money for because it's tied up in these things for next year, which, yes, is money I'll have to reserve. But I can figure that out next year, right? I can move salaries around. I can dump salary. I can make trades to free up the money that I need. So I just don't like being handcuffed by next year's budget if I'm holding on to a guy and like not moving out his contract till the end of the year or something. So it gives me more flexibility. So basically, I'm at break even right now. Basically, I have $0. And these aren't even as high as I'd like them to be. So that's why I want to move out Santana's 10.5. It'll give me a little bit of budget room. Maybe I can use a couple million more in these, as well as having some budget room to bring in guys and trades if I want. Personnel-wise, Mike Matheny, you know, I like a lot of this, what's going on here. But I can't have a guy who has like fair or worse relationships with basically the entire staff. I did that in 2021 with Brandon Hyde, and my pitching staff just constantly underachieved. And then I brought in a guy who had better relationships with the whole team, and we were good. So yeah, I think Matheny's got to go. Cal Eldred, you know, I love his relationships with my pitchers as my pitching coach. He's excellent at teaching pitching. He's good at development and mechanics, decent at aging. You know, I think he's a fine enough pitching coach. I'll look around, but certainly I think Matheny needs to be replaced way quicker than Eldred, and Terry Bradshaw also needs to replace. Only decent at teaching hitting. And so yeah, so Bradshaw and Matheny are gonna go. Scouting director, I prefer a guy who's also excellent at international, but I like the excellent at amateurs, and I like the highly favored tools. If I can find an upgrade, find somebody who has these 2 things and also an upgraded international scouting, we'll ditch the scouting director. I'd rather him be legendary at preventing arm injuries. If I can find somebody who's legendary at that, we'll do it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to fire Matheny. And I'm also going to fire Bradshaw. And so this way, it makes it easier for me to come and see who's interested in my jobs. Let's see. All right. So MLB Manager, include minor league, personnel, manager. So let's just start with, you know, I'm not going to base it on reputation, but let's just see who's out there. So we've got Mike Scotia. Why did I say Scotia? Who basically has very good relationships except for Nicky Lopez. And if you look at a lot of the tap guys out here, they all seem to have poor relationships with Nicky Lopez. I mean, poor relationship with Bobby Witt. You're like not even in the running, dude. Same thing with the pitchers here. A lot of poor relationships with the pitchers. Same there. So, you know, I do think relationships is one of the most important things for a manager. And there's no one that's hopping out here of like, oh my God, get this guy. I mean, I like this guy, honestly. Dave Biles. Now, he's only decent at development. He is decent at aging. He's average reputation, which I don't care about too much. But, you know, I think Scioscia's our guy. He hasn't managed since when? 2018. His sample lineup is fine. I don't like that he's sitting Merrifield, but I'll control the lineup. So yeah, I think Scioscia's the guy I want to offer a contract to. I just want to look at something. Oh, did firing those guys, did we like pay them up front? Is that what happens? Oops. So now I have even less money. Great. I don't think I ever realized that. Oh well. See, I'm a dummy. Man, he wants a lot of money. Will you do it for $2,069? Cool. All right, and now we need to look at hitting coaches. Teaches hitting. And go to the top. Oh well, look at this guy. Legendary at teaching hitting, outstanding at development. How are your relationships? Yeah, we don't care about his relationship with our pitchers. This is our guy here. 3 years, but how about instead we do $380, $69. How about that? Cool. You know, I think budget-wise, for now, I'm going to leave the rest of the major league staff alone. So I don't have to pay out their salaries up front. You know, I think Goldberg's good. I think Kenny's good enough. I don't care so much. I mean, actually, for these salaries, maybe I should care a little bit about my base coaches because they're not great. None of them are really good. Yeah, I'm going to fire both these guys and bring in people who are better at coaching some of those other things. So let's look at who wants to come be our first base coach. And let's see who's good at teaching a bunch of stuff. Oh yeah, look at these legends. Scott Austin. Get in here, big guy. No, I'm not hiring you as your manager. I'm hiring you as my first base coach. But how about instead you sign for that much? Okay. And then we want to go to third base coach. And let's see if this guy wants to come in and be a legend. Again, no. Wow, that's a lot of money. All right, cool. So I feel better about that staff. We're going to deal away Santana. I'll show you the deal that I have that I think is pretty much a no-brainer. I mean, except unless you're like really opposed to getting rid of Nick Pratto because he's the 73rd best prospect. I told you reasons. I'm not opposed to it. I'm fine with it. I'm looking to trade him for Santana. We also need to throw in Ryan Hennon, who much love to the Hennon family, but your son does not have a future in my organization. Luis Barroso, you know, again, he's 23. I guess he could become maybe an upper minors arm, maybe if he develops. But anyways, my assistant GM doesn't like it, which means it's probably a great deal. But we'd be getting Kyle Hendricks. We'd be ditching all of Santana's salary, and they'd pay 90% of Hendricks. So they really like Nick Pratto, which more power to him. I think he's an interesting player. I understand why somebody wants him. So the option would be up to us, but I can't see us doing that. Now, is Hendricks great? No. But he gives us more depth at starting pitching. You know, I think he again is like ideally like a third or fourth arm in a rotation, whereas he'll probably be the first or second in ours. But we're basically getting him for free. What would it take to get him for free? They just do the whole thing. I mean, a bunch of guys I'd rather not give up for just like $1 million. Yeah, we're not. I mean, we're only going to be paying him like 1 point something. So I think this is a deal I'm going to do right now. This is my first trade as GM of the Royals. We're shipping out a top prospect and one of our veterans, and we're bringing in a good pitcher, a very decent pitcher. So yeah, let's just do this. Let's do this. So now, you know, we bring Kyle Hendricks in to the rotation, and I'll do the rotation. But let's just see what my bench coach thinks since he's running this. So he has Hendricks as our third starter. And what would he say about our lineup? Pascatino goes in as the everyday DH, it looks like. Yeah. Oh, Merrifield in at second base, Mondesi in left field? Oh, that's interesting. He's not going to play left field for us. He'll play second or center. So yeah, I think from there, let's see, I have 22 million, but remember, I want to keep around 19. So I might just need to park it here still in terms of these budgets, which isn't great. I don't love this, but might be what I have to do. You know, I could always look to deal like Dozier. I don't love his contract. I don't want to get rid of Keller. I can't get rid of Taylor yet. Yeah, this might be the team, but that we like kind of go to opening day with. This might be the budget I go to opening day with, unfortunately. But I think having Hendricks in the rotation and getting rid of Santana's salary is a big win for us. Our farm system does fall from like 4th to 6th because we got rid of a top 100 prospect, one of our 3. But I think we're okay. I think we'll be good without Carlos Santana. I can live without Nick Pratto as a first base prospect. I think we have the better prospects still, honestly. I know prospect rankings don't agree, but I like my boy Vinny P here. So yeah, let's move ahead a little bit closer to opening day. I will finalize some of the other decisions I have to make in terms of the roster, and we'll catch up in a second. All right, so I've skipped ahead a whole one day. I wanted to come back to this Hunter Dozier contract. It's not terrible, but he's 30. It's a good chunk of money for our budget, and he's just never really been an excellent player other than one season. I mean, he's an average player who's average hitter in his career with about a 100 WRC plus. Doesn't really excel anywhere defensively. And he's making a good amount of money. Like, I think I can get league average players for cheaper than this, younger than this, shorter term than this. So I started looking around to see if I could deal him. It's really not all that easy to get rid of his deal. But I found this deal with the Mariners, where essentially I'd still be on the hook for 5% of his deal, which is no biggie. And then 3 pitching prospects who really, I mean, they're not even prospects. These are guys who won't make the majors. I think Austin Cox is maybe the only one who, if you squint hard enough, you can see a possible major league pitcher here, but he's 24. He's going to be 25 in a week. I don't see a lot here worth like stopping a deal over. I think if he's the piece that they want, that's fine. But getting back Dylan Moore, who is much cheaper, 1.5 million, and even more important, he is arbitration eligible, so we're not locked in long term. He's got 3 option years, which is huge. I think he can play a bunch of positions. You know, he can obviously play first base. He can be okay at second base. Short and third, I think he's like okay as like a backup sometimes, but you don't want him being your primary guy there. And in the outfield, I think he can play the corners fine, and center field kind of similar to short. Like, sure, if you need him to play there a couple times a month, sure. So I think that versatility, the option years, I think he's a decent player, and he's really fast. So we can get him, and then we can also bring in Nick Margavicius, Nicky M. That's what we're going with. He's a former Padre guy, right? Wasn't he with the Padres? Yeah. So he's 25-year-old pitcher. Really nothing special to write home about, but he's a potential major league left-hander, and he's got 2 option years left. Considering we don't have a ton of pitching talent in this organization, you know, I don't know. He just gives us more depth. I don't know that he'll be on our team, but he gives us, you know, another option, and he's a lefty, which is really the real value, I think. So yeah, so our available money will improve by just over $2 million this year, but the bigger deal is we get out from under the rest of the Dozier contract. You know, I think the one downside to this deal is it really does leave us pretty thin at first base this year after dealing Carlos Santana. It pretty much hands the job to a guy with no major league experience, no experience above AA in Vinny Pasquantino. But this move is more about like flexibility in the future years. You know, I think we might be an okay team this year. I don't think we're winning the World Series this year. So if we have a hole at first base, I'm okay with it. And we now have more financial flexibility next season to go out and address holes. So I'm okay possibly downgrading the minor league roster by a little bit, while also opening a spot for a guy that I want to give time to in Vinny Pasquantino. And we've also got, oops, not Melendez. We've also got Ryan O'Hearn down here. If, you know, push comes to shove, I think he can come up and be okay at first base. That's really it. I mean, I guess this guy could too. Emmanuel Rivera could come up and hit a little bit for us possibly. There are a few guys out in free agency who might be okay. You know, Will Craig, maybe, you know, I don't really want to give out major league deals to any of these guys, but yeah, we might be able to bring in a couple guys here too. So yeah, first base will be a little thin for us, but you know, I'm okay with it given for those reasons that I already listed. So let's just go ahead and complete this trade. Trade has been completed. I wonder if we need to open up a 40-man. No, we don't. Okay, cool. So then both these guys will just go on the main roster for now. Wonder what our bench coach thinks about this now. So he has Dylan Moore as our starting second baseman, actually. Wow. I don't think that'll happen for us because Mondesi will be our starting second baseman. Not quite sure. Even though, I mean, he doesn't have second base. Oh, I didn't realize he didn't have second base experience. Oops. He'll just have to deal. He's going to struggle a little bit to start, I guess. That sucks. I think he'll come along pretty quickly. He's a very competent infielder. And Mondesi, so Mondesi in Merrifield are in like a platoon against at DH. But I'll have Merrifield in right field, I think, over Isbell. Isbell's going to have to earn that spot. He's going to have to win it away from Merrifield. I'd imagine Nicky comes in as a long guy in our bullpen. Let's see. Yeah, long relief here. So I don't know that he'll make the roster, but he's another option for when we run into injuries and things like that. Real quick, I want to show you guys some of the settings I'm using. If you want full explanations of why I use certain settings, go watch the game setting tutorial I have. Let's see, what did I do? So here's the trade difficulty. 1 from hard, straight down the middle on veterans and prospects. Bumped the ratings weight down a little bit, and the last 2 years stats weight up a bit. Let's see. I keep the modified extra innings at 3 batter minimum. I do not have expanded rosters to start the season. I moved the draft up to June. I only allow expansion, relocation, and nickname changes in the league evolution. I have 60 international free agents, 20 international discoveries, and then no established free agents from independent leagues or international leagues. Stats and AI, I think I'm going to leave it alone for now. I'm going to see what happens. I'm going to see what happens with these modifiers and just leave it as it is. I have, wherever it is, the batting and pitching aging speed are at 0.9. So yeah, those are the main ones. Yeah, I think this team is coming together. I think we're setting up to be fine this year and be better positioned to make moves at the trade deadline and the offseason, etc. But we'll see how this trade pans out. We traded away, probably the top 3 guys in our first base depth chart between Santana, Dozier, and Prado. So, Vinny Pasquantino, you're up. Make me look like a genius, right? All right, one thing I did want to cover is how I'm going to manage the minor leagues. I'm not going to take control of promoting and demoting every player in my system. I'm going to take control of the players that I find intriguing and let my assistant GM do the rest. You'll notice there's already been a game played here at the major league level. We'll get to that in a minute. Doing stuff out of order here. Crazy time loop thing going on. So he's already at the MLB level. Melendez, I'll control his promotions and demotions. Pascantino's already at the MLB level. Asa Lacy, I'll control his promotions and demotions. Just, I mean, former fake Orioles legend. We've got to keep him under our control rather than the willy-nilly assistant GM. So then I just went through the system and kind of found players that I thought were interesting enough for me to control. There's not a lot interesting in this farm system in the high levels. A lot of it is guys who are still very far from their ceiling, guys who are just so raw and could be good, but we'll see. Eric Pena is the first one. I mean, this could be a really good corner outfield power bat. He's only playing in the corners. I mean, he could be your center fielder every, a couple times a month or something. Real life, he was an international free agent signing by the Royals in 2019. He's now 19 years old. And again, that power looks like, if you have a plus power tool and everything else is average or a little above average and you hit the ball in the air, you're a fly ball hitter, sign me up, man. I'm excited to see what he can do. Next, we've got Will Klein, who was a guy that was brought to my attention because the Mets asked for him a trade, which I'll show you in a minute. So only a 2-pitch guy, but this is, if he can develop a little more, get that stuff up to 65, maybe even a 70 for me, he's a future stopper, I think, quite possibly. So we'll be interested to see how he does. He's a high A prospect right now. This one blows my mind. This 16-year-old was just in the Dominican League. So, I can't send him back to the international complex. And he looks like he could be awesome. His defensive profile is a little concerning. But, man, at 16 to have this kind of home run ceiling possibly. So, is it in the Dominican Rookie League where I guess, I guess he can compete, but he's 16. The Royals apparently signed him in real life, this international free agent signing in January. So, yeah, I've got a 16-year-old playing in Rookie League, which I don't think I've ever had before. Nathan Webb. Actually, you know what? Nathan Webb is the guy I think the Mets asked about. But this is another guy who, these 2 pitches, man, fastball, curveball with 35 stamina. Sign me up for a bullpen arm here. Sign me up. I think he could become an interesting bullpen arm in our system. He's only in high A right now, which actually I think, I think this guy should be in at least double A. I'm actually going to promote him to Northwest Kansas. The Northwest Arkansas Naturals, of course. Next, we've got Sully Matias, another guy who looks like he could be a power bat. I think he's a corner outfielder, but an intriguing bat here if he doesn't strike out too much. You can see in real life the last years he struck out, or last year in A he struck out 36.5% of the time. In Double A, 37.6% of the time. He's still a really good hitter in high A. We'll see what comes of him. Hopefully he can get some swing and miss out of his game. Daryl Collins, a first baseman who is in high A, just 20 years old, but looks like a decent bat. Maybe not good enough to be just a first baseman. He's a guy who maybe I would try to get some left and right field experience with, so he has a little bit of defensive flexibility. Next, we've got Yazmi Fernandez, just a 17-year-old international free agent signing in February. Looks like he could maybe be like a utility infielder type guy, but this bat looks like it could be good. If he gets that contact and avoid K, if they're both in the 55 to 60 range, I'm on board. Asa Lacy, of course, we all know. Hopefully he can get back to pitching like the guy who was drafted 4th overall in 2020. Nick Lofton is in AAA. A guy who I think could be up as utility infielder for me. Probably like Dayton Moore's backup for me. right now. And by Dayton Moore, I mean Dylan Moore, of course. So back to the list here. So then we've got Alec Marsh, who I think is really like one of our better pitching prospects, which is unfortunate because he's not great at this point. He's in Double-A, which he made 6 starts there in 2021. Second round pick in 2019. Hopefully he can come up and be a decent contributor for us. Frank Mazzucato, who was drafted, where was he overall? Oh, it doesn't say where overall. He's a first-round pick of the Royals last year. I remember that because I think he was kind of like an off-the-board pick, if I remember right, if I'm thinking of the right guy. But looks like a decent arm. And then I traded for McKinley Moore. Those of you who remember, was it my OSIM? I think it was my OSIM, right? Where McKinley Moore became just a beast, one of the best relievers in baseball for me. So I traded for him. I traded 2 guys who I don't really see a lot of future for. You know, I mean, this guy's 24. Maybe he'll pitch in the majors at some point, but I'm all in on McKinley Moore. He's got to get this control better. But man, if he can get that control up, like he's a real interesting prospect. So where am I going to place him though? I mean, let's put him in A and then see how he does from there. He's 23, so hopefully he can dominate there. So yeah, that's the minor league system. These are the prospects I'll control. And then of course, as I draft guys, some of my higher draft picks, I'll keep tabs on. But just want to give you a quick look of how I'm going to manage this minor league system. All right, here we are, opening day. Surprisingly, we are predicted for 81 wins. 707 runs is third worst in the fifth worst in the AL. A 4.11 ERA, which seems better than most. This is a surprisingly good prediction. It's funny, I actually ran the prediction earlier and then like my computer locked up. I don't think it was out of the park thing. I think it was something on with my computer, not sure. And so I'd only saved it last April 1st, so then I redid it. And in the original one, we had 74 wins, which seems more in line with what I'd expect. I don't know that this is a 500 team that we have. So let me show you the team that we've got. It's pretty much the same team you saw. Perez, Pasquantino, Mondesi, Bobby Witt Jr., Lopez, Benintendi, Taylor, Merrifield are on the outfield. Kyle Isbell will be the DH against righties. Always good when your DH is your number 9 hitter, huh? It's always a good sign that your offense is really good. Oliveira, he will DH against lefties. Also, because we moved out so many corner infielders, Emmanuel Rivera makes the squad called up from AAA. He can play first and third. He's a righty bat, so he'll get some at-bats against lefties because Pasquantino is a lefty. Pitching, the rotation goes Greinke, Hendricks, Keller, Singer, Bubic. You guys can let me know. Barlow, Stalmount, Garrett, Brents, Coleman, Snyder, Spear, Hernandez rounds out the bullpen. We did get an interesting trade offer from the Mets, but then like I was just kind of seeing if they would send some cash, and now they're like not sure about the trade. I guess I could say complete trade back at that screen if I decide I want to do it, because here he's like not sure about it anymore. But I guess back at the mail screen, if I decide I want to do this, I can just say complete trade. So just to show it is, it's Cam Gallagher, our backup catcher, who I'm fine giving up. Diego Hernandez, who is an outfield prospect who's 21. He's got 65 range, so without the 70 range, don't know that he's a center fielder. Bat looks okay-ish. He's only 21. Nathan Webb is a guy who, I don't know, looks like a pretty decent pitcher, to be honest. I'm surprised he's only in high A. His fastball and curveball are legit. He's got the 35 stamina. 60 stuff. Like, he would actually be the guy. Him and giving up budget space would be the two things that have me not do this deal. It'd be getting Dom Smith. If Dom Smith was a righty, I would do this. Being a lefty first baseman, since I've already got Pasquantino, I'm not thrilled about it. you know, I think he could very easily be my DH. I think he would be a more appropriate DH than Isbell or Oliveira's. But I just don't know that I want to block Pascatino's playing time. I think giving Isbell and Oliveira some at-bats is fine. I think if, you know, 2 months into the season we're competitive and our offense needs a boost and this offer comes along, I think I'm into it. But for right now, I think I'm going to hold off. I don't want to give up the almost $3 million in budget room. I don't want to bring in another left-handed hitting first baseman. So for now, I think I'm going to hold off, even though I do think that's a really reasonable trade. Here are the guys on waivers. No hitters. We're really going to it's under pitcher ratings for some reason. No hitters that we're going to go after. Pitcher-wise, let's see here. No interest there. Clay Holmes is an interesting guy. He was out there in one of the short-term sims I did. He's only got $1 million. He is out of option years, but I think this is a guy I sign. With this movement, good enough stuff. It's only $1 million, or the guy I claim, I guess I should say. Yeah, I'm going to put in a claim on Clay Holmes. We'll see if we get him. Let's see. Ross Stripling is out there. I don't think he does much. He's making too much, too. Yeah, I don't really think there's anybody else who would be starter worthy. Just look at the guys who have some stamina. So yeah, if Holmes comes in, he can go in, and then we can send down probably Colin Snyder or Dylan Coleman, both of who look like decent arms, or maybe even Carlos Hernandez. But it just adds depth to the organization, which is something that we need. We have plenty of budget room to do what we need to do. Of course, like 19 of this is tied up in draft and international free agents. I did leave the scouting and the development at $12 million each, and oops, I just realized I forgot to divvy this out. Yeah, not nearly enough in the international, way too much in the minors. Can you change that right now if you go into commissioner mode? And you know, I'm not like big on commissioner mode, but I just forgot to do this before the season, so I can do it. All right, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna lower these. I normally lower the minor and major league down. There's no like set place that I normally lower it down to, but let's go ahead and put those at 38, those at 12. Yeah, okay. Just totally forgot to do that. Thank goodness for commissioner mode. We can go back and put in the things we forgot to do. So yeah, I think this is the squad. We're about to open against the Guardians in Kansas City, which is quite exciting with Zach Greinke on the hill. So let's go ahead and sim this game and see how we do, and then we'll get on with the season. Oh, gotta calculate those Atlantic League settings. Oh, and the ATL season predictions. So we win 7-5. All right. How do we do here? Pascatino went yard and had a double and drove in 3 runs. Merrifield had a double. Bobby Witt 2 for 5. Benintendi 2 for 5. 12 hits. Way to go, team. Merrifield had a stolen base. We're projected to steal 199 bases this year. Greinke went 100 pitches, 5 2/3 innings, 7 hits, left with the lead, but it looks like Snyder was not able to hold on. So Greinke struck out 3, walked 1, 7 hits. Barlow, who I have as the stopper, which he's really not cut out for because he's only got the 30 stamina, probably going to be a lot of this going on, where Barlow pitches like, yeah, an inning and a third, an inning and 2/3, and then has to come out and Amir Garrett or Josh Stalmont come in and get the save. I think that's probably going to be a lot of what happens here. But this is the way I like to set up my bullpen. I don't have an ideal stopper. Would really like that stamina to be 35 for my stopper. So this is the team. This is the squad. You know, like I said, I don't necessarily expect us to be super competitive this year, but we could surprise people. I do fully expect us next year to kind of hopefully put it in a hyperdrive and really start competing and spend some money, free up some money and then spend some money. But yeah, thanks for watching this video. Hopefully you guys are excited for this 3-season ride with the Kansas City Royals. I will talk to you guys in the next video. Take care.